Vibha, how are you, Vibha?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very good, thank you. We've been together for a long time, but we kind of around each other all the time. Over the
Yeah. So I think if I remember correctly, I found you guys in around 2019,
Yeah.
when I was just looking for a canvas supplier, and I found you guys on Facebook.
Okay. And stuck around ever since.
I'm a creature of habit. So if I like something, why change it? And I'm faithful to a brand. So unless you guys really like don't give me good service or something, which I can't complain. I've had great experiences with you guys. So I'm
Yeah.
happy and I'll continue and I refer.
No, that's great. But that's the thing, is that you've been around the entire time, but it's like you're always tagging us. I'm like, I see Vibha canvassing, and is that my canvas? And then I go look, and it's our canvas. It's like you're
Yeah.
just quietly going along doing your own thing.
Well, look, the thing is that maybe I should, in the video, just scan the back as well so that you can see it's an art canvas, factory canvas. But I'm just glad that at least you guys as suppliers do respond if you get a tag, because a lot of people you tag for your products that you're using, they don't even respond. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you tagging us, and we're in this together, and you get exposure, I get exposure, everyone gets exposure, and that's what we need. We need to let everybody know what we do and stuff like this.
Mhm.
So Vibha, you've got a lot of patience.
Patients as in dental patients or patients to paint?
Little dots.
I have both. No, so yeah, I do have a lot of patience because this kind of art form takes patience and practice. So, and also perseverance if you want to grow a brand, which you will admit and agree that it works the same with your company as well.
No, for sure, for sure. Tell us, how did you get into the little dots?
Okay, so I always make a joke and say, I've been dotting this dot, my red dot, ever since I got married, which was 2009.
Nice.
But the actual dots for the art started in 2018. And I came across it on the internet, like on Facebook. And then I went for a very basic beginner class. But I'm always a step ahead of things. So I will not just take what you give me at beginner level. I will go and do my own thing. And that's what eventually happened. But I got introduced to it, but I didn't do it immediately. I just had the background and I had the tools and I didn't even have paint actually. And I just left it until I had a bit of a little bit of a trauma that I had to deal with. And I didn't know how to deal with it.
Yes.
So the very next day, I started painting, and I just never stopped. And I started with whatever scraps I had and whatever paint I had. So I think I still have some of the scraps that I painted on. So it's just grown from there, and it's very addictive. So once you dot, you don't stop. And if you do, then I think you've maybe lost your motivation. So yeah, so I've been doing it ever since, and it's taken a life of its own, basically.
This is one of your earlier ones.
So this is the god Hanuman,
Yeah.
and I did a Shiva before that, and that one, they both were created for my home. So I did not sell them or anything. They're just very special to me. But the interesting thing about your canvases, and I've grown from these since I've done these, I've grown a lot in terms of how to use your canvas.
Yes.
Because if you think of conventional artists, they paint the background as they go along with the piece. As dot painting artists, we paint the background first, and then we do our piece on top of it. So you also have to have an idea of what your piece wants to turn out to look like from the very start. You have to have a vision.
Yes, yes.
And these that I blend, you can guess how I blend. And then I'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
No, I know, because the first time I saw them, I was intrigued by them, and I'm like, how are you doing the background? And then you still told me.
Yeah, so these are actually spray painted backgrounds. They spray blended backgrounds, which I don't even know. It's like I say, I will go one step extra. So don't just give me a spray can and expect me to just spray. I decided, let me play around with this. And that's how I ended up with a really nice ombre effect that repeats just with spray painting.
Very, very good. Do you pencil line first?
Yeah, so with this, I've got to use chalk pencil. That's usually what we use when we do dot painting. But depending on your background color, you've got to change it. So I've used regular pencil as well. And I found a way of transferring with your guys' canvases very well. Actually got an order for 5 pieces, which are well-known South African brand logos.
Yes.
And I did them. And yeah, and they were actually, when the gentleman contacted me, he said, can you paint these? Because he had bought a piece from me, his logo he bought from me. So he then said, I said, but these are like registered logos. I can't use them. So he said, no, you can use them because I'm gifting them to the people who own the companies. And I was like, okay, great. And they were big. They were, I think it was 50 by 50 because that's like that's big for me, right? And so I did them and I had to find a way of transferring those images. And I did it and they were brilliant and they're sitting in some big guy's office probably.
So you were saying now that the more you experiment and play, the more things you discover.
Yeah. So if I think, like usually I was afraid to use canvases because I just felt they were like a bit daunting, because it's not very smooth. Usually people complain with the dots, it doesn't sit very nicely.
Yes.
And this is going back to like 2019, 2018 when I started and other people were doing canvas dot painting. So I was a bit skeptical. And my very first piece was a tiny little 10 by 10 panel that I did as part of a course. And that kind of broke my fear. But the safety in the panel is it's not going to warp or do anything weird, we should hope. Then I found you guys, and then there's all this like talk about putting those little wedges in to stretch it. And I'm like, these folks send me this stuff. There's no wedges. What do I do? And then I realized, but this is perfectly stretched.
These are one of your most recent ones, these.
Yeah, well, I did these last year for an exhibition, actually. It was a local art exhibition. And all the products used here are all local products, South African. The canvas is yours. The paints are genuine heritage paints. And it's just one shade of metallic. And these they're very 3D, so they're very textural if you feel them. Because I use a cone. I'll show you. In fact, I just did a piece recently. So I use a henna cone, which I make. That's like, I'll show you a blank. So these are like the blanks that you make, right?
Okay.
From plastic. And then I fill them with paint, but I modify the paint. So I modify the paint to give me a 3D effect. It's just how far you want to take your imagination in terms of technique or tools. Sometimes I always say, like necessity is the mother of invention. So what you need, you find a solution. How can I make this work?
Tell me something, your 5 minutes of fame.
Oh, okay. My 5 minutes of fame, I would say, would be very early on, 2019, actually. I had a TV interview on ITV, and it was because I had done this Lens Art Expo as one of the exhibitors there. They had asked for a few of the artists to come through. So I think it was about 5 minutes long, the interview, but it was very nice because that time people didn't know much about dot art. And it was just good to get exposure. So I think you value that above all others. And other than that, I think the only other time I would be like super, super, super proud was when the Ukrainian army sent a message to my friend to say thank you for all the help we had given raising funds. And they included me. And I was like, oh, wow, thank you. Really appreciate that. So, yeah, it's just like small thanks are sometimes they mean so much, they don't even know who I am, but like, thank you so much. And I appreciate it because it was a lot of hard work to raise the funds.
Any advice for people wanting to start out on dot art?
Start slow, start simple, start cheap. Right? And then practice, persevere. Actually, it's practice, persevere, and perfect. That's my 3 of my P's that I try to use on people. That if you don't continue, there's no way you're going to improve. And a lot of people, when I've given classes, look at a finished piece I've done, and by the end of the class, they imagine they're going to create the same, and that does not happen. It takes time, it takes practice, and you also have to have lots of passion for what you're doing, which I think works with anything. I mean, like, you're passionate about canvases, you know. I mean, like, I've seen your guys' videos with all the backgrounds of the big canvases being made. I mean, you're going to be a little crazy to do those things, you know. But I mean, it's the artist who's ordering that is so appreciative, because you're making their dream a reality. So
Yes.
that's why even with this, you do it. The custom orders are different. You're doing it because someone asked you, and they have a vision, you have a vision. Let's hope when it's finished, it's the same vision.
Yes.
But when you do something just for fun, it has to be, you have to have a why. And this is your why for anything. You have to have a why that's strong enough to make you do what you do. To make you be like come and sit at your desk and say, I am doing this today. I'm not going to wait for inspiration. Or you need like, you can't treat it like a job, but you also have to find the right mental space to be working in.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, beginner dot. And also the other thing I would give any advice to anybody is, don't copy, you know, don't copy people. Just take what you see, be inspired, and create your own. Turn it into your own kind of, you know, interpretation. Don't just copy, which is unfortunately a problem we've experienced in the dotting community. And I try my best to make people understand you're cheating yourself out of your own originality when you're simply recreating someone else's work.
And any big projects lined up?
At the moment, I have a piece I want to create that is kind of like a mixture of things. It's kind of big, and I need it for more as a, you know, like if someone were to call me to be present at something and I'm only allowed one piece of art, I would take that piece, because it kind of encompasses what I can do in one big piece. But it would be like multiple mandalas. Other than that, I've got about 3 courses I need to finish just for my own personal growth for my art. So I will do that. But more than that, in terms of, well, not painting, but I've just got about 3 more courses to put out. And that is weighing heavily on me, because it's just, there's always some obstacle now. So, and you need to focus to do it. So I need to do that. So, and other than that, I just like to grow a community on Patreon, probably, just to get people to subscribe, and then do regular tutorials with them where they sit and paint along with you and create a piece, and then obviously learn to improve their skills that way.
Tell me something. The courses that you're doing, can people join up on your courses?
Yeah, they're all online. So it's on a platform called Gumroad. Even on TikTok and on Facebook, there is my Linktree link. It'll take you to everything of interest. And one of them, I think the very first one, is my online courses. So it's platform, you simply buy the course, and then you have lifetime access to it. And it tells you everything, what you need, step by step, how to do things.
Your art is for sale?
Yes, if it's on my website, it's for sale. If there's something anybody likes that they found on my page, they can contact me if I haven't listed it yet. Also, if they'd like something remade, they can contact me. So there's, you know, a lot of things that were done as custom orders, which, you know, you have to, like, ask me, please make this again. But I try not to repeat a piece. I try to always give it a different spin, not make it exactly the same, because it's very difficult, and I'd like them all to be unique.
I think we've learned a lot about dot art here, and I appreciate your support over the years. And yeah, I'm sure we're still going to walk a long path together.
Graham, I just wanted to talk to you about one piece in particular, if you don't mind. And that is this Dome of the Rock, purely because this was, I think, one of the best pieces I've ever painted so far.
Okay.
And yeah, it was for auction, for charity. So yeah, this took me 3 weeks of nothing else besides this. And there's a host of different ways in which I even approach some of it. I don't even know I think if someone asked me to remake it, I probably wouldn't be able to remake it, or remake it with a lot of stress. Yeah, it's like you can't go back and say, oh, I'm sure I can redo that. Thank God for pictures. We can zoom and figure out what we did. So yeah, but this was really, really special, and the cause was very important to me. So I'm glad that the money went to the right people and to the right good cause. And yeah, these are ways in which we use art for good.
Thank you so much for your time, Vibha.
You're welcome, and you take care, and thank you so much for considering me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, Vibha.
Okay, bye.